Hello, welcome back to Professor Nance's Accounting Academy. Today, we're going to talk about Vlookup. Hello, friends. So today, we're going to talk about one of my favorite Excel tricks, VLOOKUPs. Oh my gosh. So if you have ever had to go to one spreadsheet to find some information for another spreadsheet, or you're comparing data, or you're just like compiling information, VLOOKUPs is like, oh my gosh, it's the thing that you've been missing in your life. So today I'm going to walk you through, and I have my computer here once again. And so what we're going to do is, first, you probably see on your screen some information that I've, kind of made up. So you see some names here, some first, some last names, and we have about 20 names here. Okay, and then so on the next sheet, we have some additional information. Let's just scroll in here so you can see it a little bit better. So it's like a list of employees. You have your employees, you have their date of birth, you have their position, and you have their start date, which, as you can see, their position and their start dates are all the same because whatever. Professor Nance doesn't have time to come up with like fascinating information. Anyway, so you have been tasked with going from this spreadsheet and finding the date of birth of each of these employees, okay? So the first thing you probably notice is that on this spreadsheet, the employees' names are kind of written a little differently from what you have on your little raw spreadsheet. That's okay. So step one, before we can actually go and look up the information, is we have to get it in the same format. So we're going to do last name first. And so before we jump into the VLOOKUP calculation formula, we're going to start with another easy formula that I love to do. And pretty much you have to have a unique identifier. You have to have something that is unique for each individual record, so that when it goes to the other spreadsheet to look for this information, it'll pull back the right information. So in this case, if you look down our list, you'll see that we have a couple of first names that like repeat. I think we have, I can't remember what they are, but there's a couple of first names that repeat. And so to create a unique identifier, a lot of times you'll have to combine some information. So in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to take and combine their last name and put a comma in their first name. And that way it'll be in the same format as it is on the other sheet. All right, so the way we're going to do this is we're going to put an equal sign, because remember, all formulas start with equals in Excel. So we're going to grab their last name. We're going to put the and sign, a quote, and then a comma. So basically what we're saying is grab cell B2 and put this in between them. All right, so we have a comma, space, quote again, and then we're going to grab A2. I love this formula. It's like straight to the point, but you can combine so many things. Sometimes I'll combine like a last name and a date of birth, whatever is necessary for you to get that unique identifier, which is necessary for the VLOOKUP. Then if we push enter, then you'll see that we have last name, comma, first name for our people. Once again, if you know, you can drag it down. You can take the long way and drag it down if you want to. But what I like to do is click on this little, if you double click right there, it'll drag the whole thing down to the bottom of your row. Now the key is that you can't have any spaces in between your data for that to work. All right. So if I was to have a space here on line 13, then that double click will stop at line 13. But if you have all the information going all the way down, then you can click that double click button, that double cross or the plus sign, and it will drag all your information all the way down. All right, so if you remember, we're looking for the date of birth, So we're just going to type that in here. All right, so now we're ready to start our VLOOKUP formula. All right, so the VLOOKUP formula is super helpful. It's something that you will use over and over and over again. I love the VLOOKUP formula. I used it like 5 times today. No kidding. Literally, I did. So you're going to start with an equal sign once again. You're going to type in VLOOKUP. And if you remember, Excel will try to help you out with this. So if you don't remember kind of what we discussed today, then remember, Excel is going to help you out. All right, so the first thing you do, step 1 with the VLOOKUP, is you're going to tell it what to look up. So you want to say, go and look up Adam Best. All right, so we're going to look up this person. Then you're going to put a comma because commas separate information within a formula in Excel. All right, so you're going to put a formula, and then it says table array. So you need to tell it where. Where are we looking for Adam? All right, so we know Adam's on this sheet, but we want to go and look for Adam over here. All right, so of course he happens to be at the top, but we're going to grab this entire sheet because there's going to be some other people that we're going to look for because we're going to drag this formula down. That's right. We're not going to keep recreating this. We're going to drag it down. All right, so then you put another comma. And then it says index number, blah, 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 column index number. So the date of birth, so the name is in the first column. The date of birth is in the second column. So here you want to put a 2. All right, I've literally done this with spreadsheets where I've had to put like number 44 because the spreadsheet goes so far across that there's like 44 lines across. So I wanted to go to the spreadsheet and pull back what's on like line 44. Super crazy, okay? But I'm telling you, that's why this is so important and so helpful. All right, then you put another comma, and you're typically you always want an exact match, so you're always going to put false here. All right, so then I'm going to put push enter, and you can see that some information came back, but it's a little weird, right? If you don't know this, Excel will automatically format our dates as like general information. So all we're going to do is highlight this column, and we want to change it all to the short date. And you can change it into a long date if you want to. All right. And then there it goes. It automatically brings that over. All right. Once again, the only other thing before we go forward is I'm going to push Command or F2. Whatever you have to do to push F2. For me, it was like a function key. So F2 will bring your formula back, bring you back into your formula. And around here, you want to put some dollar signs, which are some absolute values, because if you don't, your table's going to move. All right, so it's going to slide down every time we slide it down, and we don't want that to happen. The shortcut for that is to do F4 for both numbers, F4. Okay, so if you're ever doing a VLOOKUP formula and you're like trying to figure out like, why is my information moving? Like I know this person is there. Go back and check your formula. It could be that your table is sliding up and down, which is no fun. Okay, so you want to turn that into an absolute, and then you want to push enter again. Once again, we're going to go to our little plus sign and double click it, and voila, we're dragging it down all the way down, but there's some problems, right? Okay. So for the most part, we're like 90% with this thing right about now. However, there's 2 people who like, we got that weird little funky NA thing, okay? So typically what's happening there is for whatever reason, it's having trouble locating them on that table, all right? So it could be that they're not on the table. It could be that their name looks different on the table, and Excel is like super like annoyingly straight to the point. If there's an extra space, if there's an extra letter, if you abbreviate, whatever the case is, it will not bring it over unless it's an exact match. That's like the caveat. You have to remember that. All right. So with these 2 people, we might have to do a little investigating. So let's say for Muhammad Ali, we're going to go look him up on this other table. So for this, it's a little easy to kind of scroll down and see everybody. Normally what I would probably do is do a Command F so I can find and look for Muhammad. All right. And it says that it can't find that data. It's like, uh-oh. So basically what's happening is for whatever reason, he's not on this sheet. All right. Let's take the second one for instance, DJ Tanner. I had a lot of fun making up these names. I was just gonna go ahead and tell you that. All right, so DJ Tanner. So DJ Tanner, for whatever reason, we're having some issues with locating her. We're gonna go to our sheet again. We look for DJ. Didn't find it. Let's look the last name. Look at there. She used her government name when she applied for this job. So this sheet has Donna Joe Tanner, whereas our sheet has DJ Tanner. So one thing that we could do is come over here and adjust our sheet. And voila, her information pops up because now it looks the same. All right, so unfortunately for Muhammad Ali, he is not on our other sheet, and sometimes that happens. Sometimes it's this second spreadsheet, maybe it's not updated. That happens a lot in my current role, where we have new information. We're updating the system, maybe our spreadsheets once a week, and so some of the new information has not been loaded yet. So if that's the case, then we can come over here, and what I usually like to do is get a little funky, okay? We're gonna add another formula on top of the one that we already have. All right, stay with me. So on top of the VLOOKUP, we're gonna go before the VLOOKUP and say, if there's an error, if there's like an error, and open the parentheses, and leave the VLOOKUP and go to the back of it and put a comma and whatever you want it to say. Say missing or something like that. And then we can drag that down so it'll say, it's missing. All right. And another thing that I usually like to do for stuff like this is like a conditional formatting and do like a new rule. If it says, let's see, conditional formatting is equal to, if it's equal to missing, then it'll highlight it a different color. So it'll pop out at you. So you'll know like, oh gosh. And the reason that's super helpful is when you have like a line of like 2,000 people, you're not going to catch all of those. But if it's highlighted and it's colored, then it'll pop up in your mind. All right, friends, that's it. That's VLOOKUP. So if this is your first time checking us out, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so I can continue to bring you more of videos like these. And that's it, friends. So we're going to get out of here the same way we always do. We're going to get into our stance and we're going to do our dance. We just did the VLOOKUP and we're out of here. Bye.